President Trump has criticized plans to expand postal voting in the forthcoming presidential election, claiming it leads to widespread fraud, but what evidence is there? The U.S. is in uncharted territory during the coronavirus pandemic as a record number of Americans are expected to vote by post. Election authorities and the Postal Service have been put under immense strain processing the millions of extra ballots. This has led to claims the system is unsafe and susceptible to manipulation. Problems at previous elections. Numerous national and state-level studies have shown although there have been isolated cases, electoral fraud is very rare. There have been a few, well-publicized cases, such as in the 2018 North Carolina primary, which was rerun after a consultant for the Republican candidate tampered with voting papers. But the rate of voting fraud overall in the U.S. is less than 0.0009, according to a 2017 study by the Brennan Center for Justice. And Federal Election Commission head Ellen Weintraub has said, there's simply no basis for the conspiracy theory that voting by mail causes fraud. Let's look at some specific examples where fraud has been claimed this year. Number 1 Virginia. Speaking at a rally in mid-October, Donald Trump said, in Virginia, 500,000 applications were made that were false. And these applications, to apply for an absentee ballot form, were sent out with the wrong return address. But the electoral authorities in Virginia say there was no fraudulent intent and the mistake has been corrected. The Virginia Center for Voter Information (CVI) said, "We worked for weeks to make sure that no Virginia voter was inconvenienced as a result of our printing error. And as of the 19th of October, 300,000 registered voters have since returned an application for an absentee ballot," the CVI reports. Number 2 Ohio. President Trump tweeted, "In Ohio, 50,000 ballots were wrong, fraudulent 50,000. And about 50,000 voters did receive the wrong ballot in the post, in Franklin County, Ohio, in early October. But there is no evidence this was done fraudulently. And the local elections board says everyone affected has now been sent the correct voter slip, with safeguards in place to ensure no one votes twice." The board said the ballot error had been a serious mistake. But in response to the president's tweet, it added, "Our board is bipartisan and our elections are fair. And every vote will be counted." In New York, nearly 100,000 ballots are being resent to voters after some names and addresses were printed incorrectly. In Michigan, about 400 postal ballots listed the wrong running mate for President Trump, the Libertarian Party's Jeremy Cohen instead of Mike Pence. President Trump claimed in September this had been deliberate. But the Michigan Secretary of State said it had been an error and impacted voters immediately received an accurate ballot and guidance to ensure their vote counts. In Wisconsin, mail that included some absentee ballots was found in a ditch near the town of Greenville. How this happened remains unclear, despite investigation. The White House has alleged fraud. In Pennsylvania, 9 discarded military ballots were discovered. 7 of them, according to the U.S. Department for Justice, were cast for presidential candidate Donald Trump. In New Jersey, a mail carrier was charged after dumping hundreds of items of post in a dumpster, including almost 100 election ballots. Once found, the mail was sent on to its intended recipients. But these all isolated incidents. And there remains overwhelming evidence voting by post is safe and secure. There are provisions in place to prevent people from impersonating voters or stealing ballots, such as authorities checking that ballots have come from voters' registered address and requiring signatures on envelopes. These safeguards are being applied to all postal votes. What about ballot harvesting? Ballot collection, when one person submits completed ballots on behalf of a group of voters for reasons such as old age or ill health, is legal in 26 states. But there are limits on how many ballots one person can deliver. For example, in Minnesota, a third party can collect only 3 ballot papers. Done on a larger scale, in a potentially illegal fashion, it's known as ballot harvesting. And there have been accusations of ballot harvesting fraud in Texas and Minnesota. But these remain unproven. Can the system cope? Although there has been very little evidence of actual fraud, the unprecedented expansion of postal voting in these elections suggests there may well be serious capacity issues ahead. President Trump has stepped up the pressure, by warning his millions of followers on social media of big problems and discrepancies with mail-in ballots all over the USA. Must have final total on 3 November, he added. But the counting of votes, including the high volume of postal ballots, will take significantly longer than that. And it's very possible there won't be a clear winner on election night, nor for a good few days after that.